Welcome to the Just Jim radio show. If you ever wonder where that came from, I have evolved into being a minister and a pastor at Sarasota Center of Light, and people couldn't figure out what to call me, Pastor Jim, Reverend Jim, Jim. And so I started writing on the whiteboard of classes and introducing myself as Just Jim. You know, really that comes down to why we do this program at all. I mean, the idea is that we share some kind of information, inspiration, that ideas, concepts that help you just be you, just live your life better, enjoy a little more fulfillment, a little more freedom, fun. Those three F's are important. So it's Just Jim today, and we certainly do various things with the program, interviews and discussions, and we'll be doing some group events coming up soon. And this month we've talked about Easter, and we'll be talking about conscious living. And yet, we're in an evolution right now in the world of circumstances and situations that are challenging. I've spent over 35 years trying to help people find their way, explore and discover their spiritual truth, their purpose, their way to live, and their relationship to spirit, to their higher purpose, to their inspiration. So today we're going to talk about you being a part of something in a way that makes a difference, and a difference that's needed with what we're going through. Current events that are happening in the world right now have altered the way we see things and caused us to have to look a lot closer at what's going on. It's really an opportunity for our own personal and spiritual growth, as well as an opportunity to powerfully and profoundly make a difference in the world. We talk about this, we say these things, but humanity is being affected by what's going on in this moment with the health situation, I'm going to call it, the health crisis, as some would, pandemic. And when we're working with whatever's going on in our life, when it's close to home, it feels like we can handle it better. Not always, but I mean, when we've got something going on that we're aware of, or we know, or we feel like we can at least try to find the answers because it relates to us. And when things start getting so big that they're global, it's hard to wrap ourselves around that. It feels like it's bigger than life. In this situation of health and what's going on for so many people is big. And we do our best and do our part in our own lives. And so today I want to talk about us contributing or reaching beyond this, to contribute beyond our personal lives and to choose to make a difference. Today I'm going to talk about you considering being what I call an ambassador of light. Yes, an ambassador of light. It'd be interesting for those who haven't had the opportunity to look more closely at how we're actually made up in this world. Scientifically, we could be looked at in many different ways. We can be measured for the energy that we are. We can be measured for the light that we are. We can be measured for a number of different things. And we are truly, truly a reflection of our energy and of our light. And so being an ambassador of light is really being you from a place that is light instead of dark, and up instead of down, or light instead of heavy. The interesting piece of the puzzle here is that frequently we have to choose at times how we relate to something. And this health situation is not related to a country, a culture, a race, a gender, an age, a religious belief. It is global. And it is affecting humanity. And those that feel as if life happens to them, might feel like they're a victim right now. Why is this happening to me? If we look at it more philosophically, we look at it from a metaphysical point of view, how I tend to like to look at things above the physical, beyond what it appears to be, what's right in front of us. And, each of us are going to see it different depending on where we are and what's going on in our lives and how it might more dramatically affect us, our business, our life, our families. But behind all of that, we have the opportunity to recognize that things happen in the world at times to have a purpose, to change things, to make things different. And we've had some of those. We certainly have had some of those occur that have us look at life different. With what's going on, what would be a reason for this to happen? Well, this is just one view. Remember, this is just Jim. Just Jim looking at what's going on in my own way and hoping some of what I share makes a difference. Have you noticed that everybody's got their face in their phones, tablets, computers? Their own little lives have gotten bigger, only smaller, from the standpoint that we are right now looking at our phones and our tablets and our computers, televisions often to see what's the update, what can we do, how can we deal with this situation better, and many times out of fear. But technology, apps, activities, the media, it's a double-edged sword. But it has caused us to get caught up in everything except for right here, right now. In many cases, humanity, a big piece of humanity is not paying attention to what's important or what matters. They're trying to keep up with the game they've got going, or the steps they've taken for the day, or the being led around by their phone. I want to stop for a second and I want to say I am so very grateful phones have gotten smarter, because as I get older, they can certainly be helpful. I don't mean to contradict myself, but we're back into this balance and situation where it doesn't have us and we are in touch with what matters. And that's really my whole point, is we are not in a health crisis. We're in an event that's causing people to have to pay attention, to be aware, to wake up. You can't just go through your day the same way you have before. You got to watch where you step, what you eat, how you reach out, what you choose to do, and how you choose to do it. Every breath, everything you touch, to each other and everyone around them. Do you hear what I'm saying? It's causing us to have to be more in touch and aware with each other, with the world around us. We've all gotten so caught up so frequently in our habits, our patterns, that merry-go-round thing. Not in a negative way. It's the ways and means by which we function every day. And we get very caught up in them, especially if we start believing, gosh, this is my way and this is the way I'm being in my truth. And yet we can, even in that place, take it to the point where we're not open. The butterfly doesn't fly when your hand's wrapped around it. It's when you open your hand to allow that winds of change to catch its wings so it can reflect its beauty against the sun. We have that opportunity now as humanity, as a society, to take a closer look. People are looking for answers right now. The world is looking for answers. And in what we've come to know about how the media shares what it does, or how the government, or how these different agencies function and operate, what we're seeing and hearing is hard to even believe. It's hard to even trust that there are answers that are true. It's almost like it's causing us to have to retreat within a bit. The only beauty in that is we're taking a closer look. Looking for answers, yes, definitely. And people feel like they're in the dark. They're not they're not virus experts, they're not health experts. They're trying to learn as they go and get what they need to help take care of themselves. And if people are in the dark, what dispels darkness? Well, obvious answer to that one, light. Getting back to the original topic. Light dispels darkness. You stand in a dark or dimly lit room and you light a candle and you're going to see better. It doesn't require a floodlight. It doesn't require the sun. It doesn't require something magnificent and amazing. It can be just a candle lit that dispels darkness. And as we're thinking about light and what else could make a difference, what's going on right now is certainly instilling a great deal of fear. Oh yeah, there's different acronyms like false evidence appearing real, and there's different ways to look at that, but fear is a great, as you probably have experienced in your life, catalyst for change. So here we are looking for answers, not sure what's going on, not sure what to do. We feel like we're in the dark. We're in fear because we're of the unknown of what could happen or what is happening. And yet many have said fear is the absence of love. You see, the answers we're looking for aren't as complex as what we clean our hands with, or our environment, or where we stay, how we socially interact or don't. It gets really straightforward and simple when we stop and look within. And we realize that we are light, that we are love. And these places that are being created of our experience by this situation, this circumstance, is causing us to look to that part of us that can bring us the light to see more clearly, to lighten up, to be enlightened so that we can find our way. Love to comfort, to bring ease, to release anxiety, fear. Fear creates an emptiness, an opening within. It seeks love. It seeks these things to fill it back up. Fear is just the absence of something it's looking for. And when light and love is brought to fear, some of the most important things occur within us. If we're afraid in the dark and we feel empty, and then there's a light, there's caring, there's love. It brings harmony, peace, freedom. We get to experience ourselves differently, not because we found something outside of ourselves or figured out an answer to a question. We stopped to recognize who we truly are. And in being that, those who can, now, the situation, the virus, the circumstances are going to affect people differently. Some are going to be terrified. But those of us who are able to turn to that place within us and remember who we are and recognize that, and to light that candle or to open our hearts, that's where it makes the difference. And